Hey everyone, Bradley tuning in, coming at you with another live video. I'm just outside of one of the properties that we just listed. Just took this sign down, no longer coming soon, it is on the market. We've got our sign out on the lawn there. And I just wanted to come at you with a video talking about for sale by owner. I just went through this crazy deal. We'll start to go inside. I just went through this crazy deal where we went up against a for sale by owner client and absolutely destroyed. We made thousands of dollars, and I want to share that with you, give you some tips and tricks on how to be successful if you're going up against a for sale by owner client, because there's lots of money to be made. This listing just came on in the last day or so. We put it up yesterday afternoon, and we had a couple closes this week, so really good week. In fact, this Sunday I've been asked from some family to MC a wedding, so please be praying for them. Hopefully it goes well. We're going to have lots of fun with that. And so here we go. So let's talk about a little bit about the for sale by owner. For any of you that don't know, my name is Bradley. I'm an investor and a real estate salesperson in the Greater Toronto area. We just came out of a deal where we were working with a for sale by owner. I helped a lady sell her house, and then we were looking to purchase a house that was going to be listed, by someone who was selling their own property. And we did that. But let me start by laying the groundwork. Actually, let's go inside first. Get a little bit out of the wind here. So I like to call this my superpower. If you piss me off, I'll come in your house and I'll just sit. And so we'll put the sign down. Alrighty. Okay, let's talk about for sale by owner. So many people don't know this, but in the industry, there is this stigma around people who list their own home. And I think that is important because most people aren't aware, but it really has an impact when you're going to bring your clients through as a real estate agent. And these are a little bit about what that looks like. Real estate agents, they look at for sale by owners as the plague. And it might sound funny, but you'll see why. When it comes to commissions, many times they're looking to save $1. That's why they did it in the first place. Because of that, agents are reluctant to bring their clients because they don't want to be put up against their client as far as competing for commissions. They want an even playing field. We want things to go smoothly at the negotiation table. And often they think real estate is just easy. And because of that, they kind of come off a little rough. Now, this isn't to say every person that lists their home is like this. This is just to say that this is the stigma. This is how real estate agents see people listing their own home, which often will hurt when they're listing their property and the amount of marketing they can get. And just to give you some facts, historically we know in the industry, people who list their own home, the house will sell for less. It'll take longer to sell, if it even sells at all. Statistically, they sell less. And the main reason, if I were to narrow it down, is because of exposure. There really is this lack of exposure. And I'm going to give you an example. I want to tell you a story of what I went through over the last week. Now that the deal is firm, I can come out and explain exactly what happened at the table. Some pretty interesting stuff. And we really, like the title said, saved thousands. We made thousands and we saved thousands. And I want to kind of explain to you how that happened. So tell me what you guys think so far. What do you think about that? The whole concept of someone selling their own home having an impact on them advertising the property and eventually selling. So let me dive right into this story. Okay. So we had sold a property actually in Kitchener, so a little bit further out, but they were looking to downsize. My client had sold, was going to take the money and buy a cash deal, and we had looked at a bunch of properties and had come across this for sale by owner, which I had introduced to my client. We went and took a look. And she liked it and said, okay, let's put an offer down. So I had given her this similar information. I had prefaced this. These are the certain things we can do. This is what we're going to be up against. And so we were totally ready to go. The home was priced right, which I guess is the one thing I could give credit to this gentleman for. But everything else was kind of a little shaky. And this is typical of people listing their own home. Everything right down to the listing information and the way it was marketed was just a little bit off. A little less clean, if you will. Of course, there was no commission being offered to myself or whoever brought a buyer client through, which is also typical of this. It had been sitting over 30 days, but the big thing that threw me off, and I hadn't seen this even in for sale by owners, the big thing was they had actually listed it on the wrong MLS board. Many people think that MLS is just one giant system that we all kind of put our listings on and all of a sudden it's for the world to see. It's actually not true. There's many boards. Even in the GTA, there's probably over 20, 25 boards for specific areas. Now, this listing was uploaded on the wrong board. So this client was in no way advised on this. And so the amount of exposure, how many people were coming through the house was just so limited. So here we are, we're standing up against this guy, and this was the result. This gentleman, very friendly older man, loved to talk. We got a lot of information out of him. Really didn't have any representation, and he had sent, when the agreements were all filled out, he had sent it to his lawyer to review, but unfortunately it's more like a checkbox as far as legality, and it's not really how we do things day to day as real estate agents. There are many items, and I'll give you examples. There are many items in there. There are warrants and representations and things that I never put in my deals. And the reason is because if I did, a real estate agent would say, oh heck no, take that out right out of the gate. But this gentleman didn't know any better, and so we were able to put several, not only were we able to add a financing condition for a deal that was a cash purchase, not even required, we were able to add warrants and representations and things that he was claiming were going to be factual about the property that in a real estate agent's world would never happen. But as far as price, and this is where there was, on one side of the card, we saved thousands of dollars. In fact, if you were to compare it to the market value of that home, we saved anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000. And this gentleman didn't know any better, so he was content with it, but a huge win. And the irony is the whole purpose behind a for sale by owner is to save commissions. But if you were to run the numbers, $15,000 to $20,000 on a deal like this would actually pay 3 commissions. And this isn't even including myself. I also got paid a commission on top of this, which is the other side, which was the win. When we were going in expecting to pay less commission as a for sale by owner, out of this deal, I actually ended up making more than the average agent does on these deals. In this area, I got paid way too much. In fact, I shared some of those winnings with my client because it was just so unnecessary, but we were able to include those in the deal, and we were able to push it that much further. So we were able to save thousands, and in fact able to make thousands for myself and for my client, all because of this lack of representation that's given to these for sale by owners. Now all of this, I wouldn't have even created a video on. This, to me, this is just bonus. The reason I wanted to make this video was because of the conversation that I had with the seller after the deal was done. We had gone through, we did an inspection, and he came up to me at the end of it and said to me, I would never list my home by myself again. And I was very intrigued because this was someone who had actually successfully sold their home. I mean, he got money for the property and he was done deal. But and I asked him why. I was curious, why would you not sell your home if you're so successful? He said a few reasons. First off, no representation. He said there's nobody fighting in my court. The second reason, and this is totally outside the fact that he ended up with the commissions and saving commissions, all of his costs. He said, you know what, I'm paying my costs up front. I'm putting those costs down. No guarantee I'm going to sell the home. In fact, it's had over 30 days, hugely stressful. And at some point he would have, as most do, turned to a real estate agent, which, if I were to add a side note, there are real estate agents who make their entire business on simply prospecting for sale by owners. The numbers are so against for sale by owners that in our industry there are people who capitalize on that and speak specifically to them to convert them into future clients. And he was experiencing this very same thing. Not to mention the systems that he used, the company, I'm not going to name names, when he was trying to upload images and trying to get information from them, they really take their hands back. And he had one of the highest packages that they had to offer, and yet he felt that the system was just not working for him. But ultimately there were no guarantees for him. He fortunately sold his home. My clients won big time. So as many people that are afraid of entering these for sale by owner deals, and as many agents that won't bring you through, if you have the right mindset, if you approach the deal properly, you can make lots of money from these guys. So I'm going to leave it there. I like to look at it from the perspective, I think, to really simplify it, look at it like if you were going to court. If you were going to court, would you want to represent yourself? In some cases it makes sense because you save your money financially, but I would argue that you want to be speaking in the same language. You want to have someone who knows that industry that's able to represent you in the best way possible. And I think it's very similar here. I'm going to leave it there. Please leave your topics for future weeks. I do these videos every week. Follow us on Facebook on the GTA Real Estate page. On YouTube, you can follow us on our Watson Estates page. And we'll check in with you guys next week, 12 live. Also, I forgot to mention, if you want to see more of this house that I'm in right now, I'm going to put it on my YouTube page. I'm going to put in the link in the description below the page, so feel free to check that out as well. All right, guys, take care and keep it real.